Hi everybody, another video on Divine Will, because that is what all of the videos on this channel are about. So, in this video, let's talk a bit about the mindset of Divine Will and recognising the Divine Will in all of our acts and in creation. Okay, so let's first touch on the mindset. Now, we understand by now that we invite Jesus to operate in us and through us in all of our acts, and then obviously that gives them an infinite divine value because Jesus is doing things in us and through us. So what does the mindset have to be? Because it's one thing to say, Jesus, let's make this video together, and then self takes over, or doubt takes over, thinking, oh, maybe he's making it in me and through me, maybe he's not. We have to apply our intellect to our actions and understand that the reality is that when we have disposed ourselves to live in the divine will, and we invite Jesus to operate in us and through us, we have to really recognise that it's no longer just us that's operating. Jesus is doing it together with us. So yeah, Jesus is operating in us and through us. We have given him that freedom, and so it's worthwhile, that's not the right word. We then do things with much more care and importance, even the smallest things, because we want them to be perfect for Jesus. And where our humanity, where self accidentally comes in, because we have given Jesus the freedom to operate in us and through us, and we're doing it together with him, he will make up for where our self, humanity, falls short of perfect. So the mindset always has to be, it's no longer me that's doing this, it's not just Andy that's doing this, Jesus is doing this in me and through me. Let's do our absolute best, let's make it as perfect as we can, and give Jesus the utmost respect that he deserves. And on top of that, we have to understand that it's not a fairy tale, it's a reality that Jesus really is operating in us and through us. And so recognising, let's talk about recognising, because Jesus wants his divine will to be recognised in all of our acts. How do we recognise the divine will in our acts and in creation, within ourselves? How do we actually do that? And the passage that inspired me to make a little video about this is from volume 30, December the 21st, 1931. I'm not going to read, I will read it after I speak for a little bit, but it's only the first paragraph there I'm going to read. Right, so how do we recognise the divine will in all our acts? Right, so if we understand that God's divine will is the prime act that gives life to all other things, creation, the human act, his divine will is the prime act that gives life to all of the other things that stem from there. We can look at it in relation to this. The heartbeat is the prime act that gives life to all of the other parts of the body. It gets the blood pumping, it gets the brain thinking, it gets the hands moving, the feet walking. So without that heartbeat, the life of the body would cease to exist. and it goes deeper because the heart is the only muscle in the body that behaves in such a manner where it goes. That's quite a fast heartbeat actually. But anyway, right, so why, and this is just a sort of little bit of opinion here, but why does the most intimate part of us react like that? Why does it behave in that manner? What gives it the life to beat like that? What is it that is the life force behind the heartbeat? It's God. It's God. In fact, I seen a little video a little while ago, a few months ago, that's just came to mind, where it was like an ultrasound or some sort of microscopic zoomed in image of the moment of conception. And what happened was, at the moment life happened, light happened, and then life. Light and life. Light and life. That's the way it looked on this ultrasound, and that's what the doctors were saying. So, like, the heartbeat, the force behind that is God. So that's an opinion of mine. Scientists may try and say, oh no, but it's because of X, Y, and Z. But there we go. And also think about the breath. It's like, and in that in-breath, I can't speak really in an in-breath, but life, 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 life. So on the in-breath, it's like you're breathing in life to keep everything going in the body, and in the out-breath, it can also be on the in-breath, we're breathing in the air that is a consequence of His divine will, which gives us life. So it's also like an I love you from God, and the out-breath from our bodies is an I love you, God. So in, I love you from God. Out, our response, I love you, God. So I don't know if that makes much sense. It does in my head, but it's recognising that the prime act that gives life to us and gives life to creation is God's divine will. So that's how we can recognise it in the body. And from that, from the life of the air, and then which makes the heartbeat, actually I believe it's God that makes the heartbeat, but anyway, then we can go and do other things. So from the prime act, it gives us the ability to do acts, other acts, like washing the dishes together with Jesus in the divine will. And so I guess what I'm saying is life, the force that gives us life is and sustains our life is God's divine will. Okay. And so with God's divine will giving us life and sustaining that life, do we want to choose with our free will? Do we want to choose self-will to do things that we shouldn't? Or do we want to choose God's will and do all our acts united with Jesus in His divine will? And for example, going a walk, Jesus, let's do this walk together. I've been through this stuff before. Washing the dishes, let's do it together. Come wash the dishes in me, Jesus. And recognising that He is doing everything in us and through us, and so we do even the littlest, the smallest things with the greatest care and attention. And so when we recognise that our acts, all of our acts, have a divine beginning, Jesus then wants us, He wants the continuation of that act. And that's the most difficult thing. The only person apart from Jesus that was able to achieve this for a full life was Mama Mary. She never gave life to human will. However, like I've said before, the more that we practice this and the more that we grow in it, the less going back to human will becomes attractive to us. So it's a lifetime's work which grows and grows, which I've mentioned before in other videos. But Jesus wants the continuation of the act that has a divine beginning when we recognise that it comes from our actions are a consequence of what the divine will has given us, and we invite Jesus to operate in us and through us. Our acts, our whole life, then take on a divine beginning, and what Jesus is looking for is the continuation of that, so that essentially the life we live in the divine will becomes part of the eternal act of God. There may be many different individual things we will do. There will be different things that we see in the human sense as individual, but in the divine will, it's like, look, that point is God, okay? That point where my fingertips are meeting, and everything stems from there like this, so that it all comes from God, and within that sort of shape, everything done in there is the divine, eternal, infinite act which is one with God. And so we want to be united under that eternal point, so to speak, and we can do that by entering into the divine will, fusing ourselves together with Jesus in all of our actions. And so our human weaknesses, which are outside of that divine, infinite, eternal point, God, act, they will be filled, and so they will then disappear, and we will enter into that one holy, sanctified, eternal act with God as his children. And like the saints live in heaven, because after all, like I've said many times, this is the fulfillment of the Our Father prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So this is probably the most difficult video that I have made. I hope it makes some sense. Probably 90% of it makes sense in my head. I hope I've explained it well. But again, the most important thing is to continually invite Jesus into all of our acts. And I've said, I don't know how many times, but we will grow and grow and grow in this. And the human nature, the weaknesses, they will disappear. I'm not 100% if I should release this video or not. I probably will anyway, and then later on I might go back and remake it. But yeah, it's like this. Okay, get rid of sin, get rid of attachments, die to self, enter into Jesus' divine will by giving him our fiat, and then continually invite him in all our acts, and you will grow and grow and grow, and all of those other things will get left behind, and we will be like the saints in heaven. So his kingdom will reign on earth as it does in heaven. Oh yeah, and I should finish with this because I said that I was going to touch on recognising his divine will in all of creation as well, which I think is easier because it's like a circle, a round, okay, where God is at the centre and we are going around, okay? And within that we have creation, and it's like the earth goes round the sun. It's all put together in his divine will. The air, there is air in the world. We need air to breathe, to stay alive. We need water to drink, to wash ourselves, to hydrate ourselves. There's water in the world. We need food to eat. There's food in the world. And it's this just continuous, eternal circle of life with the infinite, eternal guiding force that allows all this, sustains all this, creates and sustains it all for the love of his children. And when we can see that in nature and recognise it in ourselves, then we can recognise God acting in us and through us. Now I really don't know if I should release this. Maybe I should make it a bit better. I don't know if it gets released. I've decided to release it. I don't know if I've explained it very well. We'll see. God bless y'all. Have a nice night in the divine will. Amen. Ciao.